Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn about community ecology, the definition and characteristics of community ecology. This is going to be the part one of the complete topic. The second part of this topic, community ecology, will be dealing with the life forms, types of life forms, biological spectrum, ecological succession, etc. So, when we come to ecology, we have different levels which are very, very important to this subject. That is the organisms, populations, communities, ecosystem and biosphere. These are the different levels of importance to ecology. We all know already that there are different levels of life forms, that is from cells to tissues to organs, organs to organ systems, and organ systems to organisms. So that is the levels, that is a level of lower type. Whereas for ecology, these levels, that is organisms, populations, communities, ecosystems and biosphere, these are very, very important. The same is represented in this diagram, where you see that there is one population which is made up of similar type of organisms. Then this different type of populations will be making the community, and different communities living together in a particular place will become an ecosystem, and different ecosystems of the earth become one giant biosphere. Communities could be classified according to their physical appearance, like forest community or grassland, desert, etc. It could be having high species diversity or low species diversity. Like in tropical rainforest or coral reef, you have very, very high species diversity. Whereas in tundra and boreal coniferous forest, you have very low species diversity. And then niche structure also is of varying types in communities, like how many organisms are there in each trophic level. Are they specialists or are they generalists? Like this, there could be different types of organisms which could be present in the community. The diagrammatic representation of community structure and diversity, you can see here, this is a rainforest, temperate rainforest biome, whereas this is a tundra biome. You can see that the organisms, that is species diversity, is much more in temperate rainforest when you see the producer level, primary consumer level, secondary consumer level and tertiary consumer level. The same when you see in tundra, you will see that primary producers are, the diversity is less, primary consumers are less, and small predators are even more less. So you can see that depending upon the space, the structure of community and diversity will differ. What is a population? A population of a single species, it is of a single species present in one particular area, and this population cannot survive by itself because it is interdependent on any one form of life on another. So aggregation of populations of different species living together with interdependence in a specific area, having a specific set of environmental conditions, constitute a biotic community. Example is various plants and animals in a pond or lake constitute one biotic community, whereas the plants and animals in a particular forest constitute another biotic community. We have, or we can differentiate communities into two major types, that is the major and minor community. A major community is a large community which is self-regulating, self-sustaining and independent unit comprising of a number of minor communities in it. Like examples are a pond, a lake, a forest, desert, a meadow, grassland. Each of these major communities include several minor communities. A minor community is a smaller community which is not a self-sustaining unit. That is, it is dependent on other communities for its existence. The major community exemplified by a forest has many minor communities, like plant community, that is entire plant population of the forest, animal community, that is the entire animal population of the forest, the microbial community, that is the bacteria and fungal population of the forest. Just please don't think that it is only bacteria and fungi. It could be other type of microbes also in that particular community. In a community, you see different kinds of species. These are all either native to it or invasive species or indicator species. What does that mean? Native species are present since recorded history began. Like you have natives of Indian subcontinent. Like you have the jamun tree, or you have that Shaisi jembulana, that is indigenous to India. So this could be called as a native tree. Mango is a native tree. Then invasive species. Here, organisms are introduced either accidentally or intentionally by people. People, when they go to other countries, they might find exotic, plants which are growing there, which they might like. And when they are coming back to their countries, maybe they will get those species. These species are called as invasive species. These are introduced by species. They occupy they compete with the indigenous species for resources. Then indicator species, that is organisms that respond quickly to environmental stress. Like for example, you have lichens which are indicators of pollution. That is, they do not grow when there is a polluted atmosphere present. Now, let us understand about the characters of the community. Community have various characters. That is, first let us see the structure. Structure of a community can be studied by determining the density, frequency, and abundance of the species. That is, if suppose there is one particular population, in each level, how many such populations are there? What is their number, their density, their frequency, and abundance? This becomes the structure of community. In the slide that we have shown for the tropical rainforest and the tundra region, you can see that the structure of community in tropical temperate rainforest is more than in the tundra region. Then dominance. Usually when so many plant populations or animal populations are growing together, one or more species occur in large numbers. Such species are called as dominants, and the community is often named after them. That means if you go to maybe Canada, you will find maple trees more. You can say that maple tree is the dominant in that particular area. Diversity. This is the third characteristic. The community consists of different groups of plants and animals of different species, may be large and small, may belong to one life form or the another, but are essentially growing in an uniform environment. That means each community has a specific environment. Suppose there are 100 different types of organisms growing in that particular environment. All of them are growing in the same environmental conditions, but they're all of different characters or different species. It could be a plant, it could be an animal, it could be a microbe. These are all different, but living under the same. Important thing is they are living under the uniform or same environment. Then next one is periodicity. This includes study of various life processes like respiration, growth, reproduction, etc. in the various seasons of the year in the dominant species of a community. The recurrence of these important life processes at regular intervals in a year and their manifestation in nature. So, when we are talking about a community, we said there are some dominant species, either one or more, maybe 2, 3 more. So the life processes which occur in these dominant species are all recorded or studied in periodicity. Are they occurring at the same point of time at regular intervals in a year? What is their manifestation? How are they shown to the world? Are they occurring in a proper periodical difference? What is their effect on the environment? These are all the things that are studied under the periodicity. Then stratification. Natural forest communities possess a number of layers or stores or strata related to the heights of the plant. For example, tall trees, smaller trees, shrubs, and herbaceous layers form the different strata. This phenomenon in a plant community is called as stratification. So, for example, when you go to a desert, there are not, or you do not see a whole range of stratification. But at the same time, when you go to a forest, that to a tropical forest, you have various levels or various strata. What are these strata that you can find in a tropical forest? There is a level of litter or debris of plants and animals on the layer on the soil. This forms a first strata because in this there are many decomposers and scavengers living, which are disintegrating the dead and decaying material and releasing the minerals into the soil. So this is a very, very important layer or strata of the tropical forest. Then comes a herbs. They occupy only maybe 2 to 3 feet or maybe 2 to 3 feet or 4 feet in height, and then after them, above them will be the shrubs. They'll be occupying from 3 to 7 to 8 feet, then undersized trees, then trees, then tall trees. And the lianes and epiphytes, they twine around the support of these trees, tall trees, and expose their foliage on top of the top trees. So you can say that in a tropical rainforest, you have the litter, then herbs, then shrubs, undersized trees, tall trees, and lianes or epiphytes. So there are so many vertical stratification or strata that you can see in a tropical rainforest. It all depends upon the kind of community it is. Then ecotone and edge effect. A zone of vegetation spreading or separating two different types of communities is called ecotone. So whichever area is separating two different types of communities is called as ecotone. These are marginal zones and are easily recognizable. So in these ecotones, the variety of one species is larger than in any of the adjacent communities. A phenomena of increased variety and intensity of plants at the common junction is called as the edge effect, and it is essentially due to very wider range of suitable environmental conditions. Suppose there are two communities living side by side. You will not be able to differentiate, or you will not be able to cut off the two communities separately or completely, because at the edges of these two communities lies another community which is called as ecotone. Here there is a mixture of these two communities, and here their number is, some species are more in number. They may not be seen in either of the communities, but in the ecotone they are more. So you can very easily differentiate this particular ecotone. So this particular kind of or phenomena of finding variety of plants in this ecotone is called as edge effect, because here it is neither completely community A or neither completely community B. It is a mixture of both the communities. So you will find a different species thriving there. Then ecological niche. Different species of animals and plants fulfill different functions in an ecological complex. So you can say that in an ecosystem, you have the producers, the consumers, primary, secondary, tertiary, and then decomposers. The role of each is spoken of as its ecological niche, that is the role that a species play in its ecosystem. What it eats, who it eats, its range of movement, etc. In other words, the total range of its interaction with other species of its environment is called as ecological niche. We can also say that ecological niche is a small habitat within a habitat in which only a single species can survive. Odum has differentiated habitat and ecological niche by saying that habitat is an organism's address and ecological niche is its profession. Then the interspecific association. This is the study of two or more species growing together in close association in regular occurrence. This is called as interspecific association. Then community productivity. Next character of community is productivity. The study of production of biomass or organic matter is known as production ecology. The net production of biomass and storage of energy by a community per unit time and area is called community productivity. Then biotic stability. A biotic community has the ability to quickly regain equilibrium after a disturbance in population fluctuation. This is called biotic stability and is directly proportional to the number of interacting species it contains, that is the diversity in the community. That means the more diverse a community, the more biotic stability it has, because as an interacting species number increases, their ability to adjust to the changing environment also increases. So suppose there is a change in population of one particular species, like for example, if you go for a grassland community, grass is eaten by a hare, hare is eaten by a fox or a wolf, and then maybe the wolf is eaten by a eagle. Here, suppose suddenly because of the abundance or because of the death or some other factor because of which the number of foxes or wolves comes down, the hare population increases. It increases in such a way that here the stability might be or the environment or the community might be a little disturbed. But then slowly what happens is the eagle population will try to cut down the hare population because they are not having the wolves that they are feeding on. It now depends upon the hare. So when the species diversity is more, the equilibrium tends to come back to normalcy quickly. Unless there is a species diversity, the biotic stability is not attained. So these are the characteristics of the community. In the next video, in the part 2, we will be learning about the biological spectrum, different kinds of life forms, ecological successions, then xerosphere and hydrosphere, and serial stages. Thank you.